In 1981, the Wolfe Tones were back at the top of the charts with The Streets of New York.
I was 18 years old when I went down to Dublin with a fistful of money and a cartload of dreams. Take your time, said me father, stop rushing like hell, and remember all is not what it seems to be. For there's fellas would cut you for the coat on your back, or the watch that you got from your mother.
I should mention that when we went to the States, the first people we befriended were a couple of New York cops.
At the time Uncle Benji was a policeman in Brooklyn, and me father, the youngest, looked after the farm. When a phone call from America said send the lad over, and the old fella said sure it wouldn't do any harm.
1966, while playing at a gig, we were invited back to a house for dinner. And the girl that brought us back was a girl named Anne McCrory, who we'd never met before or seen before. She brought us back to our house, and we're having dinner. And during the dinner, a cop came in. And he said, how you doing, guys? You guys like a drink? And a year before, we were stopped on the road about 3 in the morning coming back from a gig. A couple of Americans, they stopped us and they said, can you tell us the way to Ballyfermot? So we said, yeah, follow us. They followed us, we stopped the car and said, Ballyfermot, Kylemore Road. The guy said, you guys like a beer? I said, nah, we'd had enough. So when we heard this, when we walked into this house having dinner, and this guy comes in, he said, you guys like a beer? We said, were you ever in Ireland? And he says, yeah, I was over in Ireland last year. He said, where were you? We stayed in Ballyfermot. He said, remember the guys that directed you? That was us.
Well, to shorten the story, what I found out that day was that Benji got shot down in an uptown foray. And while I was flying my way to New York, poor Benji was lying in a cold city morgue. Well, I phoned up the old fella, told him the news. I could tell he could hardly stand up in his shoes. And he wept as he told me, go ahead with the plan, and not to forget, be a proud Irishman. So I went up to Nelly's beside Fordham Road, and I started to learn about lifting a load. But the heaviest thing that I carried that year was the bittersweet thoughts of my hometown so dear.
A long-lasting friendship. My ring is a New York City cop ring, which they presented to me in 1977. So it's a police detective ring. So if I get a bit of hassle over there, I just say, hey, I'm a detective.
It's been 22 years since I've set foot in Dublin. The kids know to use the correct knife and fork. But I'll never forget the green grass and the rivers as I keep law and order in the streets of New York.
I believe that during 9/11, when the police and all were over there digging out the farm, that became their theme song. They played it down there all the time. So it's become an anthem.